Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello, I'm Robert Martinez, State Historian of New Mexico, and today I'm going to talk to you about Elena Gallegos. Elena Gallegos is not just a park, she was a real person, a person from New Mexico. Let me tell you about her. She was born Maria Elena Gallegos around 1680. That's the time of the Pueblo Revolt here in New Mexico. She was obviously spirited off to Guadalupe del Paso with her parents during that time period and then returned to New Mexico about 15 years later. Let me talk about her family, okay? Her father was Antonio Gallegos, and he had deep roots in what's now Mexico. Her mother, Catalina Baca, was about a third generation Nuevo Mexicana with roots going back to the Oñate colonists. Cristobal Baca came from Mexico City in 1600, and she also had Trujillo ancestors also from Mexico City. The Gallegos family were from Parral, Mexico, and before that, Antonio's father, Diego Gallegos, was from Durango, Mexico, then called Guadiana. Before that, Luis Gallegos Terrazas, his father, was from Nombre de Dios, Mexico. And then his father, Miguel Gallegos, was from Riaza, a little town outside of Segovia, Spain. How do you like that? Those are deep roots here in New Mexico, and in Spain. Well, we know that by 1699, Elena is marrying a Frenchman, Santiago Gouroulet, Jacques Grolet. He was from La Rochelle, France, and he was a member of the ill-fated La Salle expedition. He ends up being sentenced to life to live right here in our beautiful state of New Mexico. And they get married in the Bernalillo area, which is the ancestral home of Elena Gallegos. Well, we know from documents that Santiago lived about 12 years, and he died around 1711. But Elena and Santiago had a son, Antonio Gouroulet, who is born in that same area and ends up marrying Antonia Quintana. So there you go. You have French, you have Hispanic, and you have New Mexican families with Quintana names and other names blending together in the Gouroulet Gallegos household. Well, we know that by about 1712, Santiago has passed away. But this doesn't stop Elena. She gets a cattle brand, she gets land, she acquires a piece of land from Diego Montoya in this same area, and it's a huge tract of land that goes from the Rio Grande all the way up to the Sandia Mountains. And she's a person of means. We know from her will that she had some interesting clothing, silk garments, and even a chest from Michoacan. I like that document because it shows us that we were connected to Mexico and other parts of Spain's world empire. She lives to be about 41 years old. She passes away in 1731, but she leaves a family of Gourulets and Gallegos through her son Antonio, and also Genízaro Native American servants and slaves who are also part of the story, who work for and then take on the Gouroulet surname. So this is part of Elena's story I wanted to tell you about. What I find most interesting about Elena Gallegos was that she is a woman who seems to me was very determined. She was a business person. She owned land, she owned animals, and it seemed that after her marriage to Santiago Gouroulet, she really flourished and had quite a dynamic life here in New Mexico. She's a common ancestor to all of us, and I descend from Elena Gallegos on my father's side. So thank you for joining me. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.